This is a little video about how to make laundry soap, specifically how I make it. I have to do this about every 6 weeks. I've got my empty containers here that I reuse. The first thing I'm going to do is boil water in this. Next, fill a bucket. I've got a 5-gallon bucket filled with hot water. And it's the same bucket I reuse, it's clean. The 3 primary ingredients are here. This soap, bar soap, which you can use scraps of bar soap also. I'll get back to that. This super washing soda and 20-multi borax. And I think these two are actually similar chemicals, but I have a perception that this super washing soda is less strong. They're both alkaline than the borax, and I don't even know if it's true, but I mix 2 cups of this to 1 cup of this and about that much of that. I guess I don't need to cut a cup. And I keep it all taped up. I keep them in a plastic bag, and I keep it taped up so that it doesn't lump up, but I do about everything this way. I usually don't tear it up this bad. I guess I'm kind of nervous. So I go put 2 cups of this in. Now, I shouldn't be spilling it all over either. I probably should do it over the tub. Now here's the one of the main tricks. Use a strainer when you dump this in the water. Put in that strainer, because you're going to get these chunks, and if you put them straight into the water, they're going to stay there. So that's that one. I'll have to seal that up later. See if I can take this apart more carefully. This I put 1 cup in, hold it over the tub this time. It's about a cup. I've got it marked on this cup. Well, that's 1 cup, and 2 cups is all the way to the brim. Chunk that in there. Now I'll clean this stuff up, and we'll get back to. Got these all taped up nice, and I'm going to put it back in this bag. And a big part of the process of do-it-yourself is cleaning up and putting everything back so that you can find it easily. And it's actually what I do with that bar soap. I melt it. Well, I put it in water, and so that it's softer. If you don't do this, it's pretty hard to work with, just in that bar form. And this is the part that helps to get the stains out. So then what I'm going to do is, you could pour off this liquid, but I'm going to want a little more than that. Pour it in like that. And I'm going to add my boiling water, boiling hot water, or something like that, to help melt it a little more. And then I just stir a little bit with my fork and use this, smash these. And I need 2 hands to do it. The thing too is I'm going to put a little more water in this, and then I'm going to put some of that soap. Put some of that soap in here. And I think I'm going to need a knife, which I don't have, to cut it. Actually decided I could put this whole bar in there. It'll fit and it won't really hurt anything. And also, very cool, And I've got pieces of bath soap that I've been saving. And it gets too small to scrub with it. What about that one? That one looks kind of funny. And put that in. And now this is very important. This is going to stay here under this. I keep it under the sink here, which we don't have childproof on, but we haven't really had trouble. We don't have infants. But it wouldn't be a bad idea to have childproof on this door. And so this will sit here for 6 weeks until I make another batch. I've got my bar soap. It's pretty well mixed up, and I'll just pour it in there. But I'm not going to just dump it, because what I'm going to do is hold back some of those pieces, and then I'll make another batch of boiling water and try and get the rest of those pieces dissolved. It's my second bowl. It's not enough new. It's just I didn't add more soap. I just added more hot water. I'll try and actually this can be poured into the funnel too. I didn't have any. I had it all dissolved. And the funnel, you can go ahead and pour it. There's still a few chunks in this funnel. And not funnel, strainer. My experience is there's some of these chunks will never wash out. Now comes a very important part too. Power tools, but just inexpensive electric drill and a mixer, paint mixer. Because right now there's a bunch of powder. The powder never fully mixed in. So now I'm mixing that powder in, and I'm mixing in this. See, there was a chunk of it. See, there's still chunks of that soap in it, or that bar soap in there. So I'm going to mix it all together. And important point here: don't spill it. You've worked this hard, you come this far. Don't turn this thing on so fast it spills out of the bucket. I got a speed controller here. I'm going to shut the camera up. The main thing is, it isn't so much a speed. Give it a few minutes. Do it for a few minutes. Now, another good tip: you need a funnel like this. And you need this. Pretty much got to have it. Fit in easy. Fit in there. And the other thing that's even more important and less likely that you'll see from somebody else: do not try to pour this 5-gallon bucket into this. Or put it another way, here's a mistake I made in the past. I don't do it anymore. Dipper it out like this, because if you go to try and pour it from this 5-gallon bucket, you're going to spill some. And it just doesn't make sense to spill it at this point. So I guess you probably can't see my jugs are in here. Of course, I want to do this in the bathtub. I don't want to be doing this on the floor. So that, it takes a minute, but if you're going to do this, this is the way you want to do it. Now, here's another thing, very important. This stuff is not going to stay homogenized, apparently homogenized. It's going to separate, it's going to settle. So what you do is you leave space, and I left a little too much space on this one. Go back, put a little more in. But you do not want to fill these all the way up. Because when you fill them all the way up, it's difficult to shake them. And what you're going to need to do after these sit for, as I say, 6 weeks or even 1 week, it'll settle. So you'll need to shake it, and if you leave a good bit of air there, it makes it considerably easy. You can't hardly shake it if you fill it all the way up. So I've got, there's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles of soap I made there and all. But anyway, completely full. They aren't full as I told you before. And I'll just rinse all this off with the shower head and stuff, and then put it in my laundry room. And one last thing I'm going to say is, one last thing, this is where it all happens and how we use it. My wife actually I like to use this in, and just put a squirt of this cheap stuff in there, maybe a touch more, and then fill it up the rest of the way with, if you can see it, with this stuff. And then, okay, so that's my little video about how to make laundry soap. It's it's harder than it appears when making these videos. I wanted to say, people often ask me how much do I save. I've done some calculations. Right off the top, one thing that helps if you find it at Walmart. I was buying it at Ace, it costs more. Walmart, it's $4 or $5 a box, I believe. And I actually think the washing soda is slightly more expensive than the Borax. But and then the soap, I believe, is like $1.75, I think. But at any rate, like I say, if you get it at Walmart, that's your first thing to do to save money. Secondly, I went to calculate everything up, and it just got real complicated as far as how much soap you displace, how much the soap costs that you displace. And of course, we're already using cheap soap. If you're displacing Tide, you know, you're going to save more. But if you're using Tide, you're probably not going to want to use this stuff. I don't know. I mean, the first thing you could do if you're using Tide is switch to cheaper. So how much do you save? It's hard to give you an exact, but I'd say 2 things about that. One is, probably if your time is worth like $25 an hour, you're probably not going to save anything. Secondly, I want to say that my wife does most of the laundry, and she uses this stuff. Every 6 weeks, I have to make a new batch, and that, I think, is that's my primary brag on this making laundry soap. The end. Thank you.